All right. Let me set this up real quick. So, I'm usually a math teacher, right? And I teach usually Algebra 1, Algebra 2, calculus, and all of that. But they also have me teaching finance, which I've learned a lot from. And my finance class, the book that we use is Dave Ramsey. So I haven't really posted a lot of my finance content. But today I just felt like really doing this because it was important. So yesterday in my classroom, we talked about the psychology of sales. So we are all consumers, okay? I'm a consumer, you're a consumer, you all buy stuff. But the thing is this, there is nothing wrong with buying things, but you have to buy the stuff for a reason. You have to buy things because there is a purpose behind it. Like you buy something because you actually need it. But that's not what happens most of the time, right? I'm gonna give you a quote here, which is interesting, right? So listen to what it says. 75% of US citizens, right, make spending decisions based on emotions. This is horrible because people buy based on their emotions. So basically you buy something because of the way you feel. That is not correct at all. So in this particular lecture, what I thought about was the fact that we're gonna learn how to examine why consumer awareness is essential to a healthy financial plan. We're gonna learn that. We're also gonna analyze like marketing techniques designed to trigger emotional spending, okay, which I just mentioned. And then also we're gonna identify how companies influence buying behavior using psychology. And then we're also gonna practice strategies to stay in control of your spending decisions. So that's what I wanna talk about today, okay? Now the first thing that you wanna know, I wanna tell you about is this. Your brain is basically, God has given you a brain with a purpose. Your brain has a security system. Yeah, it's not everything, nothing is in a vacuum. Your brain has a security system built in by God himself, right? So basically you have your fight, flight, or freeze. Those are all things that were embedded in you when the Lord put you together in your mother's womb, all right? Now, some people can argue about that. I'm not gonna get into that. And give me 1 second, I'll get back to this. So I had to tell him I was doing something here. So basically, your brain, like I say, has a security system. And basically it's based on three things: fight, flight, or freeze, right? For example, your brain has, I don't want to use the word evolve, but over the course of time, things have changed, right? Dangers have become different, okay? Originally, we had things like lions, bear, real danger, physical danger, right? And today we have different dangers like social media threats, and then FOMO, fear of missing out. That's a big thing that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, right? And then stress. So we have fight, flight, and freeze. Now, an example of like the emotion of fight, okay? This brain, the way that your brain responds to something, right? It's basically somebody says something to you online and you snap back. You get annoyed because a lot of people are looking at this and your feelings are hurt, so you want to snap back and say something. That's fight. Flight could be like avoiding a tough situation. Some of us are good at not wanting to ruffle feathers, so we want to avoid it. That's pretty much flight. And then freeze is just you doom scrolling down, impulsive buying, you freeze on your screen. It's just like, we all do it. We all have done that over the last couple of years. Things have really picked, okay? So basically, one of the things that you want to remember is this. If there's anything else that I want you to remember is this particular quote here. Your brain does not care about your budget, right? Let me say that again. Your brain does not care about your budget. What your brain cares about is survival and comfort. Basically, all of us, deep inside, built within us is this natural propensity to survive. You want to protect yourself. You want to survive, okay? Survive. You want to survive and you want comfort. Everybody wants to be comfortable. I don't care what it is. I don't care who you are. We all are constantly seeking for what? Survival and comfort. Those two things are very important. And then psychologists know that, right? And then people that are in marketing and sales, they know that about us. So they've designed ways to get us to be triggered. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the amygdala and your prefrontal cortex. Okay, those are two things again in your brain. Again, by the way, your brain doesn't fully develop until you're like 25. So a lot of young people don't understand that. That's why they think sometimes they're already like, they think, oh, I'm mature, but you're not. No, technically, you're not. So your amygdala is this. Your amygdala is the emotional, impulsive, reactive portion of your brain. It's basically called by Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey, the screaming child in you. Okay? And the prefrontal cortex is the logical, thoughtful, long-term, responsible adult in you. So basically, the prefrontal cortex does the logical reasoning. And then your amygdala is more like the reactive, impulsive, emotional portion of your brain. All right? Now, companies, right? Walmart or whatever the company is, they want you to always be in the mode of what their amygdala. They want their amygdala to constantly do the decision making. They don't want the adult to do the driving. They want their amygdala to make all the decisions, right? Because the screaming child in charge is irrational, doesn't make good decisions. Everything is based on emotions, and that's what companies want. So they figure out a way to trigger that. Okay, so we're gonna talk about it. For example, let me ask you a question if you're listening to this. Like when you're tired, stressed, or emotional, who's more in control? Of course, it's the amygdala, right? Most people, it's the amygdala, because when you're stressed out, when you're tired, when you are emotional, you're basically acting based on emotions. This is why sometimes people say count to 10, so that way you can get your prefrontal cortex to be back into control so that you can act more rationally, all right? So here's the thing, when you're stressed, okay, when you're stressed, it's easier to sell something to you when you're stressed out, all right? So that's what we're gonna be exploring right now. And I wanna say three main things here, right? So the three main questions that your brain and my brain is always asking is these, right? The first thing is this: do I belong? Do I belong? All right? And am I safe? And does it feel good? Okay? These questions, they run constantly in your head. And marketing is designed to answer them emotionally, not logically. Okay? Marketing is pretty much designed to answer these questions emotionally, not logically, because when logic comes into play, then those things don't matter anymore. So they want you to stay in the emotional state of a child, so that way they can trigger you into making a purchase. How? For example, do I belong? Right? When you think about the word do I belong, or the sentence do I belong, what products are marketed to make you feel accepted? Right? If you think about it, for example, shoes, clothes, right? Phones and brains. I remember back in the 90s, I want to be like Mike, right? That Gatorade commercial, because you wanted to buy those Jordans because you wanted to be like Michael Jordan and you wanted to belong. This is why we have sneakerheads groups. You have people that wear Jordans, you have people that wear Nike, they wear a certain type of shoe, and they pretty much gather together because they have a common purpose, is we love these Jordans. So the marketer is trying to answer that question. He's trying to make you feel like if you get this shoe, if you get this particular phone, because now I only use iPhone. I don't like Samsung because this is not part. This is funny. Something as simple as the color of a text is something that a brand can sell you, right? Because you want to belong somewhere. Your clothes that you wear, I only wear a certain brand. I only wear Nike. I only wear like Ralph Lauren. I only wear this. Again, this is what the market is trying to get you to be. They want you to feel like you belong because you wear a certain thing. So therefore, you have that brand loyalty because you feel like you belong. Nike, we are one, army of one. That kind of stuff, right? So that's the first thing, is do I belong? So the marketer is trying to make you feel like you belong when you make that purchase. The second thing is this: am I safe? Am I safe? Right? They try to answer that question, am I safe? So what ads make you feel like you're protected? Insurance, for example, cars, home security. I actually like those commercials online. The Limu commercial, is that the Limu, right? And then Jake from State Farm. Basically, he's selling you a product. And when you buy that, you feel safe. You ever seen those commercials when the woman is in the house and the ADT is like going off and she feels like she's safe because the burglar can't come in, because now they show somebody with all these headset and they are answering the question, say, hey, who do you have with you? We're going to send the police your way. All that is to make you feel protected. So now, if you buy the product, but after watching that commercial, they've reached their target, which is making you spend that dollar, right? And then the third thing is does this feel good? What sold us comfort, right? Food, for example, shopping and entertainment. Me particularly, Cinnabon, right? Cinnabon, man. So the smell of Cinnabon when you walk into the mall, you walk by Auntie Anne sometimes, right? Cinnabon gets me so bad. Like I can't walk past that place. I have to stop and then buy it because, I mean, the smell is amazing, and when you eat it, you feel comfortable. Comfort food. Some people want a couch potato. Why do you think? Because they know that you feel stressed. All you want to do is just sit and eat. So the marketer is trying to do that to you. You see the marketing when they show chips or whatever, pizza. There's always somebody on the couch watching a football game, right? Eating chicken wings and stuff like that. So again, they're trying to get you to see that that's an emotion. They create that emotional connection. And when you buy into that, you get stuck and you spend your money. So this is what they're trying to do. So if your brain senses no to any of these questions, do I belong? Am I safe? Right? Does this feel good? When your brain says no to all these questions, the amygdala takes over and logic shuts down. And that's the key to every marketing company out there. They're trying to get you to say no to those questions so that your amygdala can take over. Again, we talked about the amygdala, and we said that the amygdala was the screaming child in your brain. And logic goes out of the window. You begin to crave things that you know you shouldn't crave. Like, honestly, I shouldn't be eating Cinnabon because I'm type 2 diabetes anyway. I shouldn't be eating that kind of stuff. But guess what? When I'm there, when that smell comes into my nostrils, my logic sometimes goes out of the window. I start to rationalize, well, I need it. I'm just gonna get one of them. I don't do this every day. So you become to rationalize stuff. You no longer use logic because I know that I shouldn't be eating that. Number one, it wasn't part of my budget, so to speak. And second, health-wise, it's not good. But all that goes out of the window because my amygdala has been triggered and I no longer act as an adult, but I'm acting more like a child, right? So you guys have heard of the term retail therapy and impulse buying, okay? Shopping, for example, can give you a dopamine boost. Basically, and that's real science. Basically, when you shop, you feel this like emotional high. You're just happy, okay? And the cycle works this way, right? You have this emotional discomfort. You're just feeling like a little down, and you make a purchase. You go to the mall, and this is why when you go to the outlets or you go to whatever, Costco, whatever the place is, it's always packed because you wonder, why are people here buying things every day? Because that retail therapy, right? You buy something, you feel good for the moment. It's a temporary relief, right? You feel good for a moment. And then guess what happened? Buyer's remorse. You wonder, why did I even spend that money on this item? Why did I do that to myself? Why? And then guess what happens? You repeat that again. And you ask yourself, this is why sometimes you go to people's houses, you open their garage, they have a garage full of stuff that they've never used. I know of people that have things that they've never used. And then they end up like going on Facebook and giving it away or selling it. And this is that retail therapy because it is not really the item that they want because it does something for them, for their emotion. So as buyers, we need to be aware of all those triggers, right? So that's the key. The key. Now, I gave you some reasons. I gave you a lot of reasons why marketers do what they do. But as a consumer, how do you do to protect yourself? Because I can't just give you all the consequences and all the problems without giving you some solutions, right? So one of the solutions that we discuss with my students is having a budget. See, a budget gives you a great control because a budget is pretty much a plan for your money. All your money have a purpose. You assign duties or tasks to your money. So your money is not just sitting there doing nothing for you. You have money that has a purpose. So therefore, if you go somewhere, okay, and they're trying to get you to turn off your prefrontal cortex, you have your budget. You pull your phone out and you have your budget and you know, all right, I do not have fun money because fun money is what goes into this extracurricular like expenses, right? If you don't have enough money in your fun money, then you don't make the purchase, you don't pull the trigger. So you have to be able to do that. You have to ask yourself, do I really need this thing, right? Or we talk about a 24-hour rule where when you really feel like you are so emotionally stirred, then you can ask yourself, let me wait 24 hours and see if I really need this. Especially when it's like purchases that are like over $50. Now, I'm not saying that the purchases under $50 are not worth, are like nothing. No, you still need to exercise what? Control. Self-control, okay? Because again, finance is 80% knowledge and 20%, 80% behavior and 20% knowledge. You can know all the information, but 80% of the time is the way you behave. Like you can store up information, but if you don't exercise wisdom, then it's useless. Knowledge is good, but knowledge that does not apply itself with wisdom is useless. So you have to have a budget. So the budget really gives you a plan for your money, because if you don't have a budget, then your money is just sitting there, you do whatever you want. But when you have a budget, you know, hey, listen, this money has been assigned for a purpose. I can't just use it. So a budget does not really restrict you, but it gives you freedom to spend, so that when you spend money, you know, listen, I've spent this money because I had a budget. It was part of my budget. All right. So hopefully this helped you guys out. I just wanted to discuss it for a little bit. All right. So I'll see you maybe next time. This was something that I felt like I needed to share with you guys. All right. Thank you for watching. Before I forget, I wanted to mention that it takes your brain about 20 to 30 minutes to go back to normal mode after your flight, fight, freeze reaction has been kind of triggered. So that's important to know. So as you're shopping and as you're being triggered by these things, remember, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes. So if you can, within that 20 or 30 minute gap, realize that, okay, if I really focus and understand that I need to work on a budget, within that 20 to 30 minutes, you're going to go back to using your prefrontal cortex instead of your amygdala. I just wanted to make sure that in passing, because I know that this is also one of the coping mechanisms to avoid being triggered. All right. So when you're triggered, remember, it's also 20 to 30 minutes. So if you know these ahead of time, when that happens, you know how to respond better. I just wanted to mention that.